draw like that, but like, you know, right here you can see there's like, this isn't a crease or
He was
anything. It's
very
kind of just
close
like
to hitting that in.
a shadow that falls on the shirt that gets blocked in the sketching layer as well. Some people just draw like that, right? The Juvie accounts,
All right, we gotta go
the
back to
Dracui
Umi.
account both draw like that. So this is the
What?
biggest smoking gun that Umi states,
Stupid.
where the Dracui account has a Pinterest board link. The Pinterest account is
What?
a bit
Stay
suspicious
grounded,
because
no.
if you scroll all the way down, there are references to this
What?
piece that was then archived. And again, that's related to this piece here, where again, it's Juvie's piece.
Ever seen that piece before? Judy posted it
Oh,
around
I'm not-
April 19, 2025. Somebody who had called out Juvie before they became popular reached out to me, showing me everything they had posted on their
Nick doesn't
highlight.
even
Yeah,
have brain.
so this one is a bit interesting. Maybe it's an artistic choice to draw it this way, but the hilt of the sword is not even. The left side and the right side don't match up at all. So that was one of the ones where people were like, this is looking very suspicious. Could be artistic choice. AI would also do that. They're also adding that the way the sword is drawn doesn't match up with the way the hand is holding it. Could be genuine artist error, possibly. And then that Juvie account deleted it. And this was when Juvie had under 400 followers.
Oh, wait,
And then they go back
Eva,
to the
are we gonna
Pinterest board.
Oh, wait, actually,
and
Nick,
this
send
one
me
is
the
more
picture of the
damning. So
meow
they
right now.
highlight the furry art here. Take a look at these three. This
Yeah, I
piece,
wanna
this
see.
piece, and where did the last one
Send
go?
it to
This
the
one.
group chat.
These three. This one, this one, this one. Those on Juvie's
Bro's
post
gonna pull
about
up a
the
freaking
furry
picture from
are
Google.
the same three photos that are used as the reference by Juvie. Playing devil's advocate, Pinterest is a public platform. Some pins are just really popular. So perhaps Juvie has a Pinterest board where they have all of these art pieces and they just happen to have the same three popular ones. They're again highlighting the same three characters that are featured in this piece. There's a whole board dedicated to this Pokemon trainer, which they did make a piece here. This one is the most damning one because remember I said keep in mind Juvie's Pinterest board. This Pinterest board, right, where you have dynamic poses, potential background, and faces, these boards are the exact same on the Dracui account. That one's a bit damning. I'm out here trying to play Olympic gymnastics to come up with benefit of doubt, like alternate explanations. I can't think of an alternate explanation for this one. Maybe they're best friends and Dracui happened to add Jofa into 3 of their Pinterest boards as a contributor.
Holly moved to her current account
Oh,
after
shit,
being
you
outed
folded.
because her dry Kui
did-
account
no,
was
you did
not
not.
beating the
This is really damning, the Dracui account. Yep, we
Well,
got here
I'm
4
saying that.
fingers. We've got the sword with
down.
2 swords, the sword into a
Hold
sword.
it.
You could argue maybe it's artistic choice, potentially. Also, not to mention the fact that these fingers are massively
I just
longer than
went
these
blind,
fingers,
bro.
which I think is pretty funny. Also, one thing that AI does is AI is not good at putting fingernails on people. It will put fingernails on some fingers, but not other fingers, right? He's got fingernails on 2 fingers and not the third. AI tends to do that.
No one's
And then
that
the
bored.
ribs. I don't know what's happening with the ribs over here, right? Like, not ribs, right? These are like, if you're really jacked, you have like the muscle definition.
seen
It
him
kind of
hit
looks like
way
wheels on
better,
the side of your
honestly. I like
body.
the other ones.
It doesn't look like random
Yeah.
creases zigzagging across your side. If you're capable of drawing pieces at such a high level, you can render this well. You can draw 5 fingers and get the muscling on the side of the body
I'm hitting
correct.
it, I'm hitting it,
This
I'm
one's even
hitting it,
more
I'm
damning.
hitting it.
Over here we have a piece where we have a character with 2 left hands holding 2 different teacups and a tray. So there's like another hand involved in this because we see an arm here. And then we have the AI hair
Yeah.
looping into other hair, bleeding into other hair, besides the wonky architecture in the back. Can you actually draw 2 left hands? Yeah. But like now we have a case of an artist with a really high skill level, capable of drawing and rendering pieces to this degree, making massive amounts of mistakes in their pieces. This piece
Like,
has
you
4
smell
fingers,
like fish.
wrong
Like, what are you
rib
talking
cage,
about, bro?
2 swords. This piece, architecture is uneven. We've got 2 left hands. The hair bleeds into the other. Like, it's getting suspicious. This one's getting mad suspicious. I feel like you can't really
Just hit it in
argue
the
against
hole.
at
What do
least
you
these
mean?
points.
Well, if all of this wasn't enough for you, well, a Juvie Trace live on Instagram if you didn't see the first seconds of this video. Basically, on the Instagram live,
The video concludes by speculating that Juvie traced live on Instagram. So going back to the beginning of the video, what do they mean by this?
Demo.
There is something you can do where when you're recording, you greatly increase the exposure of the video. So if you have like really hard to see sketches, that I take Photoshop, I draw a sketch, okay? Like hypothetically. We got a bunny sketch. Theoretically, if you lower the opacity a lot, so you see it, you can barely see it. You make a new layer, and then when you record with your phone, You just up the opacity on your phone
Come
so
here,
the
boy.
lines don't show. And then I could draw over this and essentially trace it without you really knowing because I've
Bro,
upped the
Evil
opacity
and
so much.
freaking
That is what
Nick
the
are, like,
video
Tom and
alleges
Jerry
Juvie
right
did
now.
in the Instagram live stream.
Without guidelines or anything like that?
So somebody took the piece and the live stream and then upped the sharpness and contrast. And there's weird sketchiness happening in the background.
Yeah, bro.
Like if you
Tom
see
and Jerry,
here, like
bro.
heavily upped, there's a lot of lines and like basically like what looks like dirt on the canvas. This one is really interesting. So if we go here, this is like hard to see, right? This is the live stream sketch in question, where this is again where they really up the, if you're referencing something, your thumb doesn't really look like that, but that's like neither here nor there at this point. Like at some point, it's a little too suspicious. And again, the final point that I'm making is that this isn't to say that artists aren't allowed to make mistakes, right?
No.
These are all things that could be genuine errors. It's just when they are able to render allegedly at such a high skill level, but almost every other piece has like
Oh,
a
shut
massive
up.
anatomical or something else error in it that is a bit suspicious. Or the skill level they seem or should be able to draw at. I always think the
But he's still not
weaponry
doing it
when it
because
comes to
he
guns
loves
is
men.
always interesting because AI is so bad at drawing guns. Like it's so bad when it generates weapons. Like the guns, swords, whatever. It just comes out looking mad wonky. And I'm not necessarily saying Juvia traced AI, but when people who trace AI use weapons in the piece itself,
my
it
job.
comes out looking super jacked. So, what are your thoughts about the Juvie situation? Do you think there was tracing of AI-generated
Yeah, I know
images,
how
or
to
do you
do it,
think
you
the
actual
images and the
buffin.
designs were completely original?
Just you
I would love
pushed
to
me,
hear your
so I
thoughts.
couldn't do
And
it.
again, please don't send hate to them because at the end of the day, we don't have a smoking gun. We just have many a benefit of doubt and a lot of suspicion. So if you like the video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on VGen and
You hit
Etsy.
it
I sell
with your
digital art for
damn
streamers and
car.
creators over there. I also have a coffee with free resources for streamers, and I also stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. So hope to catch you guys there or in another video.
Can't write scripts? Don't want to show your face? CapCut's AI Story Maker has you covered. Just enter a few keywords, and it auto-generates the plot, visuals, and voiceover. One tap to create.
Hey, as well, still on the 27th, they drew Kohane. Also, again, I'm butchering like all of these names. I truly apologize. Look, I haven't seen a lot of anime lately, or I don't know where these characters are from, so I have no reference on how to pronounce it. I'm just guessing. Here is their
Yeah.
drawing of Kohane. Maybe this is gonna be a little bit harsh, right? If you're a beginner artist, don't take this to heart if your art looks like this, because this person's not a beginner. There's just a lot of elements of their artwork that tells me they're not a beginner that is learning. They are somebody who's just drawing pieces fast. But we have another post the next day. This is on the 28th. Drawing Enna. So here's a drawing of Enna, etc. Again, the reason why I say their artwork looks like it's done fast is that a lot of things are done kind of without too much intention. Which even if you're a beginner artist, like beginner artists will draw pieces that look beginner, but they will take a long time doing it. Like with this beginner piece, this took me 3 hours. You can see I am shading in what looks like a very similar nondescript way, like they're shading in their piece. I'm not trying to compare my old art to their art in this sense, but I mean, I am doing it for the sake of this argument where my brushstrokes and paintings were done with a lot of intention. Even if it looked kind of scribbly, there was like intent as to like, okay, I'm gonna brush this out, etc. You kind of don't see the intent here with their piece, which again gives off the impression that it was done in a rushed way. And again, it will make sense later. Drawing Mizuki requested. Now here's their drawing of Mizuki. And if you take a look at this Mizuki drawing, you can see it's getting a lot better than their previous, there's more improvement happening in their artwork. The line work thinned out a little bit. Nothing wrong with fake line art, but it does kind of detract a little bit from an anime style of art piece. So thinning out the line work, having kind of like more movement and flow in the hair makes it look more fun. This is still on the 28th, and commenters are saying the improvement is showing good luck. Dialogue is saying, how do you actually improve this fast? Tell me your secret.
That's
And
my
Candy says
booty
tutorial and
loop.
tips from others. Other people are stating how much they love the artwork, how much they think it looks good, how the improvement is so fast. Again, we have this piece being on the 28th of May.
Well,
This was
that's
their
my
first
fault
ever
or
art
mine
piece,
only.
right? They could have been drawing before they made this account, right? But they're claiming to be a beginner artist. In 2 days, they went from this, which is a big
Oh,
improvement.
he's not.
Okay, still on the 28th. We again have this piece they made. On the 29th, they drew Saki. So this is their Saki piece. This piece looks really good. Obviously, there's still anatomical mistakes, but I'm just saying, this piece objectively, to me, looks good. Look at the flow of the hair, the color choice looks really pretty. I love the really strong blue hues here. It gives a very anime-esque vibe to it. All the detailing on the jackets, The coloring of the hair looks so much better. The eye detailing looks really, really good here. Lower lashes. The mouth, the smile looks a lot more natural. But guys, this was posted on May 29th. Candy is alleging that they drew this on May 29th. Again, post date doesn't necessarily mean the date they drew it, but they're making it sound like that's the day they painted it. People in the comments are saying, so cute, can you post the speed paint? It's over, we're all doomed. Look at how fast they're improving. Whoa, how are you improving so fast? You're improving so fast, this is adorable.
Oh, yeah,
and this
this
was
seems about
crazy.
right.
Again, let me remind you, this was their
He's my
day
bench.
one of painting,
He's
or
my
one of their
bench.
early, first works, posted 3 days ago on the 26th. And here is their painting as Saki 3 days later. They improved that much in 3 days. Is it possible? Could I do it? No. For my art to go from this was posted July 2nd, 2017,
Sorry,
to be able to draw like this. And I think that's pretty fast improvement to me personally. I feel like I improved really fast because during this window I drew a lot. It took me 2 years. It took me 2 years to go from that
Do
to
my
this.
homework.
I feel like I did improve pretty fast as an artist. Now I haven't improved at all because I stopped drawing. But back then I drew a lot, right? So here they're redrawing Emu. Redrawing. This is their new drawing of Emu. By the way, this was done on the 29th. This was their old
Around
drawing of
fishing
Emu
theater.
that they posted 3 days ago. Again, let me remind you, 3 days. 3 days. Could it have been traced so that they had such a fast improvement? Could have been. We don't know about that part, right? But they're allegedly claiming that they improved this much in 3 days. And the commenters are supportive and confused. Solly says, improvement is awesome. Gianni says, how did you improve your art in 3 days? Aha says, over a few days, I'm convinced this is an undercover artist. Oh, we share the same name. Says, my biggest flex is that I never hated on Candy. Happy. Kansas says, the improvement is insane.
Or
What?
push him
So
into
here
the
they show
bowl
us a
and
speed
make him
paint.
flip.
They did improve, yes. Whether it's traced or not, I mean, it definitely does kind of look like they did
Hurt.
trace off of
God.
this character.
I'm on me than ever. I'm on me than ever.
Find styles that feel more you than ever, without compromise. Max what makes you, you.
About their improvement in 2
I
days
think
from
it's
their first
Julian,
post to
look.
this post. Candy is not saying, oh, that post was from like 10 years ago and this is just like my art now. So that's the
Just look the
difference.
way it's
Candy didn't
running.
say, oh, that post was like from 1 year ago, which is why it may look like I improved fast. Candy is not denying the inherent assumption that Dalek is not stating, but you can read between the lines to understand this. Where
Look
Dalek
at
is
him.
confused as to how they improved so fast in 2 days, and Candy is just saying tutorials and tips. They're not saying, oh, I grew this much in 2 days. They didn't explicitly write it out. You can read between the lines to understand that. Yeah, they should definitely clarify. So then here
Yo,
they
Julian,
say,
if you're there,
June
jump.
11th, rating my actual old art. 7 out of 10 lasso tool drawing thing.
Oh, damn.
Look at this level of sketching.
Julian's kinda
Look,
good.
you see this type of sketching? It's a lot more like chicken scratchy with the sketching, which is something that beginners tend to do because you don't have that confidence to draw long straight lines. So it becomes
But
very
what if it
chicken
is actually
scratchy.
Julian?
This looks much more beginner. Still looks really good, right? But this old piece, a birthday piece they
That's
did
a
for their
W's.
friends, a lot more beginner like. Look, this still looks really good, right? But the hands definitely look like
Fake
somebody
names.
that tried to draw hands. In the pieces that they claim to be beginner pieces, it looks like they just like tried to draw the hands really fast. There was no intent with how they drew the fingers. Beginners will have anatomy mistakes with the fingers, but you can definitely see that they put effort into drawing the hands. That's like why it looks different. One of their old pieces. This looks really good. Another old piece. Line work for one of their OCs.